Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're trying to figure out some technical difficulties at this moment. Please bear with us.
What's up, IOU audience? If you're there, I don't see anybody in the comments yet, but thanks for the patience if you were here.
You got a few people watching, absolutely. And they are on YouTube. So we're not going to lose the feed regardless. So we're waiting for Lamar to show up again. We're having some technical difficulties. These things happen, these are live shows. So, and we have, you know what? I'm even going to take the banner down. This is who you have. Let me get Brandon in his place. Let's get Tim in his place. And in the famous words of Brian O'Halloran, I'm not even supposed to be here today.
What's up, audience? Again, thanks for your patience. We have some tech issues on our guest end that we're trying to figure out with some of the products that are being used. So yeah, but we're hopeful as always to get our guest up here, and we're working it out. So yeah.
While we were doing that, hey Tim, you got some kind of exciting news.
Yes, sir.
So what's going on with you in
the works.
The Indie Escape?
Oh, just working on stuff, and don't have a date set yet, but definitely working on stuff, trying to coordinate some things. But it's going to be a surprise. Joe, I want it to be a surprise.
Okay.
I know we want to fill that air, but come on. We should more so talk about July 5th. We have our next episode, right? Symbolistic Cynicism with producer, director, and actor Laura Ann Gray.
How cool is that?
It's kind of cool.
Nice. Gabe's gonna have another banger of a show. I can dig it.
Oh,
I
can talk about. Let me tell you, CJ's last show. He interviewed a good friend of ours. Was it Jesse D'Angelo? And I have here two of his books, which I purchased. And let me tell you, this one. Oh my goodness. It's a zombie. It's the apocalypse. What were you expecting? Zombies? Doomsday Dogs, dude. It's the absolute best horror comedy I've read and not seen. It's got to be a movie. Got to be.
Sweet. I think Lamar is trying to come back in. Survey says no whammy, no whammy, no whammy.
Come on.
Shit. I think
definitely not a spinning wheel of death, please.
Wait.
We see the light. But can we hear?
Do you hear me?
Can we hear it? Can you hear
me?
Oh, yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you, yes.
Lamar, just do me one favor, man. Like, turn your phone, if you could, please, to get the...
Yes, this is like a walking music video, but yes, we can hear you. Yes. I think he's gone back to where
I had to set it up again.
From.
Right on.
Nice. All right.
We got Sean Smithson in the house. Hey, brothers. Good to see you, Sean.
What's up, Sean? Thanks for the support, brother.
All right. So, hey, do you guys want to start this thing off right?
Yes, let's start it off. And Lamar, we're gonna do the intro of the show, and then we'll bring you back up, buddy. All right?
In a few minutes.
Everything's good now, right?
Everything is good, and we are live.
We're live, brother. So we're gonna take you out to the green room for a few minutes, start the show, and then we're gonna do your intro video, and then we'll bring you back up.
Okay.
All right? See you in a few, bro.
Sweet. Tim, you good?
Yeah, I'm good, brother. Thank you, man. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you.
My pleasure. Good seeing you guys. Take care.
You too.
All right. Brain cells are lit. Ideals start to hit. Next, a formulation of words that fit. At the table I sit, making it legit. And when my pen hits the paper, shit. That's legendary rapper Big Daddy Kane. Ain't no half stepping. Welcome to IOU. Mr. Melican. There we are. There we are. Nice. All right. How you doing, Tim? I'm Brandon E. Brooks. This is Industry Outlaws United, IOU for short. My host tonight is a special one. My brother. Can you hear me, Tim? That is a funny frozen
And
face.
this is live, ladies and gentlemen.
Hold on, don't look second there.
I think
Am
Tim's
I-
got a little bit
am
of
I not
a
working?
lag. Yeah,
you
you
were
were frozen up,
frozen.
brother.
All
I
right.
took the card down and everything.
I hit the button and it wouldn't go away. It was crazy. I froze. Hold under pressure.
All
And with that,
right.
good night.
Performance anxiety.
Gotta love live internet. All right, like I said, this is IOU. We got started off a little rough there, but hey, our guest is in the green room waiting. Tim is our special guest host tonight. Thank you, Tim, for backing up Joe, who's taking the weekend off for the holiday. Thank you, Joe, for stepping up and helping us get on live. So Tim, we already kind of had a little pre-show talking about Gabe's show. So can we just get the ball rolling and show the tribute video for our guest, please?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Pretty dope. Welcome to IOU, one of my best friends in life since high school, actor, martial artist, stunt coordinator, and just one of the best dudes I know, Lamar Bumbrey. What's up, Lamar? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome. Thank you for joining me
Yes, I can
tonight. Thank you for joining me tonight, man. Yeah. So first, were you able to see the tribute video?
Yes. Absolutely. It was beautiful.
Thank you. I thought you'd like it, brother. Awesome. Thank you, Sean, Libby, Crystal, for joining us tonight. So Lamar, I always start off the show like a little backstory. Like I said, Lamar and I have known each other since high school. Actually, a little bit before that with the outdoor school stuff. So just give our audience a little bit of backstory about like how you grew up, like where you're from, and what you were like as a kid.
Well, I was born in Camden, New Jersey, and I grew up in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And actually, as a child, as you know, Brandon, I was pretty much the exact opposite of who I am now. I was very chubby, very pretty quiet. Well, I'm still quiet. I stayed in the background a lot, and you know, just like any other child, just going through things in a back in the day situation, and just dealing with bullies, dealing with after school stuff, dealing with just regular growing pains and things of that nature. Um, we seen a lot of things, my friend.
Absolutely,
A lot
absolutely.
of things.
Yes, yes. So what was it like? I mean, obviously, like you said, you grew up and you were overweight, and I'm sure you dealt with some bullying and some ridicule. But what was it like growing up in those church schools when you were like that? I mean, was it tough? Was it something that you had to? Because we'll get into like how you overcame it in high school. But what was it like during those formative years?
Um, Absolutely, it was tough. You know, um, we just had a lot of different issues that we had to deal with back in the day that a lot of people don't have to deal with today. And we kind of just had to deal with things on our own and just stand up the best way that we could. There was no instruction manual. There really weren't any websites to go to. Um, there weren't any groups or anything like that yet. So, we all kind of had to just figure it out on our own. In a way, it fortified us in a different way because we literally had to do that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it did make us tougher because, like you said, we had to just deal with it. We didn't go out and do some of the things that unfortunately children are doing today. We either had to deal with it with our hands, or we had to just stand up to whatever was the bullies were, whatever. And just like I said, it
Yeah.
made us tougher because again, I was bullied when I was younger, and again, I stood up to the bully, and then the bully became a friend because once you own your enemy, then they realize that you can't be messed with. So yeah, so I
Yeah.
definitely feel you there. So yeah, so martial arts has been a big part of our lives since we were younger too. Talk about what martial arts means to you, because I know you went through a transformation. I call it the summer of Blade for you, but I remember being in school, and then you went away one summer and then came back and like metamorphosized into like a totally different almost being. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, during that previous summer, I just decided on my own that if I was going to change anything, the change has to start from within. There is no outer force that can really influence you more than what's within. So you start with that and then work your way out. And then I remember I could only do maybe 10 push-ups. It was terrible. But one week I could do 10, the next week I could do 20, the next week after that I could do 30, and so on and so forth. And we didn't really have trainers back in the day around that time. So a lot of the martial art movies and things like that, when people were doing a lot of their own stunts, we were actually able to, slow those down and work on certain moves because we knew they were actually doing. And if they were
Yes.
actually doing them, then if you train hard enough for it, you can actually do it too. Because they have two arms and two legs just like us. So I felt that when I got involved in these things and I really officially started to train, I was kind of had just a certain muscle memory that was already kind of there just from training myself. Because before I was trained by any teacher, I trained myself. And when you saw me that next summer, that was the byproduct of that. just staying in the house, just working out every day, not going out, hanging out, just being focused on the task, because the task was out of a need, not a want. You know, when it's from a need, you will find the type of strength that you would never imagine that you could ever have.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, like I said. So what did you during that time? I mean, obviously you trained, you still train to this day, but what are different styles that you trained in martial arts?
All right, well, I would say during the Power Ranger era, pre-Power Ranger era, I was into the Taekwondo and everything like that. With the it was the Master Yi Karate, Tiger Showman's era. So I was in Tang Soo for a while, and as a heavier person, it was definitely a different experience. But I was happy that I was able to do that because I was able to figure out that certain arts, everyone can do them, but you have to modify them the way that your body is proportioned so that you can be the best at it for you personally.
Yeah.
And then after that, I got into different aspects of Jeet Kune Do from a good friend named Byron Cox. He was one of my first trainers. And we got together and we would train for a while, but he left. And then I would continue my training on. And then I met another man named Darian Izar. Me and him got together. And he has a style called Unorthodox Shadow Rule, which is a combination of Muay Thai, boxing, kickboxing, a couple other things mixed up in it. That was a lot of fun. And, we still work together every now and then to this day. Later on, I started meeting just different people along the way who just knew little things. Shout out to Sifu Raymond Blom. That's my man right there. He's taught me some things. I learned a little from him. Steve Orvin, learned a couple things from him. Robert Samuels, then the whole crew over there, learned things from them. Then later on, I met, who did I train with? Then later on, I started getting into Wing Chun. And I started training with, a couple people around the way who studied the art. Then I trained some under Master Keith Mazza. He's over in near the Cherry Hill area. I started training with him, and then I started, branching off and learning from different people. And after a while, I started to understand that it's the person that kind of makes the style, not the style that makes the person. It's all about how you move, how you do it, even everything down to your own temperament. That really dictates how you move or what pretty much style of combat that will work out, for you. Some people are aggressive, so they go for aggressive style. Some people are passive, so they go for passive style. And it works for them. And because it works for them, they can pretty much be the best at it, and that pretty much applies to everyone. Just, find your niche.
Absolutely, absolutely. So as a young person coming up, like, what were some of your hobbies? What were you interested in outside of martial arts and all of that? Once you got into it, I know you draw and you do some other things. So speak a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, I had a very vast, how can I say, very very vast imagination because I was the only child for a huge part of my life. I was raised by an elderly woman and an elderly man, my aunt Ruth Henderson and Uncle James. So when you're living with older people, it's kind of a gap. So you're kind of left on your own with it. So that's when I started to delve into finding out what my own talents were, just for the fun of it. So drawing, I would start drawing my own comics. I would do tracing on tracing paper and then create different characters based off of bits and pieces of this and that and just sewing it all together and just coming up with my own thing. Just it was really just for the hell of it because I really didn't realize that the ability to come up with these little stories are the same things that draw into the ability for you to create stories as you get older. And
Absolutely.
I was also an avid video gamer. I was really deep into fighting games, but my deepest level always be RPGs because they're the type of games where you gotta think and you gotta grind out and you gotta get experience points, you gotta travel. It's kind of like how life is in general. You know, you start off, life is not a button masher. It's an RPG game. You meet people, different towns, get different squads. They all have different abilities. Whatever job that you're doing, you can't just win at it. You have to do it over and over again and grind out for months to get it done. You know, it's the closest thing to how real life actually is
It's
because
truth.
we have
Truth.
to take our time.
Yep. Absolutely. So what were some of your favorite films coming out like that stuck with you?
Well, we came up during like I said, we came up during the kickboxer era. The we were right at the end of the post Bruce Lee era, so we caught the tail end of all the Bruce Lees and the Bruce Lies and Bruce Lays and all that stuff. And then we was in the Cynthia Rothrock era and things of that nature. You know, everything the Sammo Hungs and all those things. So when you come up during that time, it's a mixture of like the classic stuff, and then there's the Van Dams, the kickboxers, the blood sports. Even a shout out to Chuck Norris with the Octagon. You know,
Oh yes.
yeah, respect the Octagon. There's a
Yeah.
couple movies out there. Michael Jai White's Boyega. Of course, Boyega, one of our favorites
Oh
from
yes.
Undisputed. Like it was just during that time. Even the Ninja Turtle movies during that time. It had a certain level of turn up to it, certain level of grit
Absolutely.
to it. All these movies had grit and grime, and they had the cool training montages, things that actually made it make sense for this person to be good by the end of the movie. So
It's
during
true.
that era, um, we saw the purest form of creation as far as film work,
Absolutely. I
because
agree. We
everything
were
else
talking.
after that,
Yeah, I agree. We were
everything else
talking.
after that, is based upon after that, or based or built on after that. But that was the main nucleus
Yes.
of film
Absolutely.
work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So before we show, I'm going to show some of your accolades via acting reel I put together for you. But talk about the modeling. Like you did a lot of that, and you even dabbled in singing a little bit. Talk a little bit about what those two areas mean to you.
Um, I remember when I first got involved in modeling, it was actually really fun. It was kind of just when I just finally, got into my new frame, just went into my new transformation, and I started getting into just different like fashion shows and doing print work and all those things. It was, I would just say it was something that would serve me for that time in my life
Yeah.
when I was coming from one transformation to another. That was kind of more of my high fiving to myself and say, okay, let me see if I can do this now. Because no matter where you start at, as long as you keep going in one direction, you'll end up there somewhere along the way. And I ended up to have to do that
Yeah.
simply because I just kept going. So, that started, and I come from a very musical family. So, me, all my family members, we all sing. There's some of them that dance. And so me at that time, I was creating some music and I said, why not? Let's see if I can do this. Um, I also got involved later on as I developed. I learned how to rhyme too. I started doing that. I ended up having a low key mixtape that I had out a little while ago that not too many people know about, but that's there's going to be things dipped in the pot for later on for that too. Um, Let me see.
That's
It's
what's
just
up.
all creativity, man.
Absolutely.
Our creativity, it comes out in any way which possible, depending on what stage of life you're in or what type of creative form you're in. Sometimes you're going to be in a creative form when you're going to have to write something and make a story. Sometimes you may have to do a poem. Sometimes you'll do a song. Sometimes you'll do a rhyme. Sometimes you'll do a dance. But all of it is purely the form of human expression. So every way that you go with it, as long as it's coming from you, that's all you need.
Absolutely.
Literally.
Absolutely. All right, Tim, can you please play the acting reel to show our audience some of the great work that Lamar's done over his career?
Let me ask you something. While we're out there, what's to stop me from popping you and just me being on my own little merry way?
What, you tough?
Whoa! Calm down, man. Calm down. Save it for the ring, baby. Save it for the ring. Calm down.
Okay. Everybody relax. Everybody relax.
Right? Come on.
Let you get your
Save it
fight.
for the ring.
Police. Is anyone in the area? All right, I'm leaving. Whoa. Calm down. I'm not gonna hurt you. What are you running from? Did you call 911?
Man, you gonna throw all this shit away, man.
What is you talking about, Blaze?
What I'm talking about? Man, you got all the talent in the world to be something special. But one day you're gonna throw it all away, carrying that gun, fucking around in the streets. All you're gonna do is end up getting locked and shot up. Let me guess. You're scared to ask it, aren't you? All she does is push you around. Gives you shifts, but not no notice. Fuck, could just tell you taking a me day.
Scared? Roman, you're the one that fears your father. I mean, does he even know you're doing this?
No? 3 little gophers, all in a row. Whether they come back alive, nobody knows. I want my nephew back alive. And I want the manuscript. And even trade. And maybe I'll let the other ones go. Think about it. Call me.
You ready for this?
Ready as I'm going to be.
It's just like when we used to fight the other schools growing up, right?
You didn't have knives, Dean.
But no matter what, we're in this to the end. Together.
To the end.
Dope. So seeing that, that's a little journey through your career a bit. So what was your first acting job, actually?
Wow. To be honest
Taking
with
you
you,
back.
it's actually, you know exactly what it was. It was actually the very first thing I really did like that was the movie that me and you worked on in the beginning, The Sickness.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that was one of my questions upcoming. But how was that experience working? We lost one of our good friends during that process, Dennis Ronan. So how was that
Yeah.
process working with Dennis on that show?
Dennis was, how can I say, like he was an angel, man. Like he really enjoyed what he did, and we had a really good time. He's one of the few people that I've worked with that, he doesn't really have ego issues, and he didn't really like to make it difficult for nothing. So it's very rare to find that in this business a lot of the time, where it can just go very smooth. And we were all really good friends when we first started, and that actually made the filming process a lot better. Some people, they don't really know how to operate within that space, but when we do it, we understand, like, we're all friends here, so we're going to actually work 10 times as hard because we're all friends here,
Yeah,
because we really want to kind of impress each other.
yeah,
That's the way I kind of feel about it. If I'm going to be working with someone that, we're friends, I actually want to impress them. I want to be very easy with them. I want things to go very smooth with them, because why would I not?
absolutely.
Because we're friends.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Why
it
would I
made
not?
and yeah, it made the process much easier. And like you said, some people don't see it that way, but it's like I said, we had a good time doing that, doing the first short film that we did, and yeah, and then we went back later and did some more things we'll talk about. But yeah, like I said, rest in power, Dennis. That was perfect how you said Dennis was an angel, because even
Yeah.
through hardship and agony that he was going through that we didn't even really know about near the end, like he definitely was still had a smile on his face. So that, like I said, props always to Dennis. We miss you, buddy. All right, so
Yeah.
so moving forward, you actually jumped on the stage in a reimagining of The Great Gatsby. Speak a little bit about what that was
Yeah.
like, because that's a whole different animal to work on the stage. So how did that come about?
Well, actually, when you're dealing with film versus stage, it literally is a whole other animal, because there is no cut. There is no, all right, I missed my line, let's do it over again. Like, if you mess up, you literally have to almost fumble your way back into your script without the audience noticing.
Yeah.
If you can do that, then you can do stage. If you can fumble through your script without anyone noticing that you skipped a beat, well, you're made for this. And the person next to you who hears that you're fumbling on a script, and then they throw you little clues to kind of get you back on track, they're made for this too.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what was it like just being the lead in that? Because you had to hold it down. I saw some of the photos. I didn't see it live, unfortunately. But how was that, just being the man there out front of that such a play?
Um, it was it was a lot of pressure, but it was the pressure that I needed to overcome, because once I knew that all that was laying on my back, I had to really zone in, and I had to really, really zone in and find my center, and know that when I go up on this stage, if I can just make it through this, if I can just get through this entire thing, it'll make me a better screen actor when I return back to the screen. Because there's, how can I say, sparring, and then there's real fights. The film is like a spar, because you can start it over. But the stage, that's just a whole freestyle. And if you can get through that, if you can really get through that, then I would really say, once you return back to film, the transference actually is a blessing, because it's easier for you now than it was before you had that stage experience. Because no matter how crazy it gets in film, it'll never be as crazy as you standing in front of a bunch of people having to get it right. The the first time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No cuts. Yeah.
There are no cuts. So if you can deal with that, you'll be able to go back someplace where there are cuts.
Yes.
And you'll be able to improve
Adapt, yeah.
yourself based off of that and adapt.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so that moves us along. Tell us about your role as Roman in Lauren Lapree's The Dark Military.
Yeah, Lauren, another great guy. Much respect to Lauren Lapree. Lauren, I remember I met him as an extra on another set, and we were just talking. I had no idea that he was even a director. He was just, another one of the extras. And that is another lesson that you can learn through osmosis as you go along in your film journey. You never really know who's in the crowd. Just because they're an extra that day, that extra might be a producer or a director, and they're just helping this director out just for the heck of it. So me and him, we just started conversating, and we just took a liking to each other. And when we did that, he just said, listen, I actually have a call out from one of my characters in the film that I'm doing. I said, you're doing the film? He said, yeah. I said, well, all right, cool. What are you doing? And he told me about it. And he was like, well, would you be interested in coming and reading for something like this? I said, sure. Me and you're vibing right now. So if we're vibing right now, I don't really see no reason why we wouldn't vibe on set. So I went there, we talked, I read, and he's like, okay, look, you got the part. So it's kind of like I made it in the very last minute, because if the other person didn't call out, then that role wouldn't even have been for me. But I guess it was meant for me, because that's how the cards played out. It's crazy how your destiny plays out for you without you even realizing it. You just got to go about your day. And The Dark Military was, as I would say, it was one of the most fun projects that I worked on after me and you worked together, because it was still more camaraderie on the set. Everyone was really really cool, well behaved people, well respectful people, and we got through it. We shot it. I don't know. We shot it in a very 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 short time period, where we had to get it right, or we were going to lose the set space. So we all had to get it right. But because we were all so close together, we were able to actually pull that off, and we were able to create a masterpiece. Always shout out to Lauren Lapree and everyone else on the Dark Military Squad. It was another pinnacle point in my film career, actually. When I started off just doing extra work, just like everybody else, and I just literally worked my way up just by talking to people and asking them, hey, what do you have going on? What do you have going on? To the point where I would have things going on, and each one teach one. If I got something going on, I would extend my hand to somebody else that's trying to do something too. All I need to know is, do you have the same version of the fire in your eyes that I have? Do you have your version of it?
Yep.
If you do, then you can do this.
That's
if you don't, it might be a little more difficult, but we're all here to learn one way or another. So give it a try. Look at yourself in the eye and see what you see.
I like that. Each one teach one. I like that. All right, so we're going to get to my weekly one sentence or silence, which is I throw out a name of somebody you work with, and you speak a couple words about them. And if you stay silent, that means they suck. So you know what it is. So I'm gonna throw some names at you right now. Bobby Samuels.
Oh yeah. Kudos, Bobby Samuels. One of the best of the best in this area. He's excellent at what he does. He is he's a blacksmith of the craft. he takes a lot of different characters, brings back a certain flair that a lot of people don't even know how to do now. Like he brings it back to the Shaw Brother area, and they really, it's a certain energy that you can only get from if you have to be around those type of people that really respect that type of stuff to be able to create it. And you can only do that when you're in the alleyways of China, and
Absolutely.
you're really
Absolutely.
and you're really with them. You're really with them. Like it's you got to be on set. You got to see the work. You got to see the nunchucks. You got to see the wire work. You got to see the 10 to 15 step combos that they got to get in one take. You see that. So when you're dealing with that, that was an entire level up
Absolutely.
with them, because you have to turn up because you're around everyone who's at a certain level already. So you have to keep up or die trying or something. But you just gotta keep,
Absolutely. All
build it
right.
up.
All right. So John Canada Terrell.
Awesome. Another great guy. Me and him, we are personal friends. We've hung out a couple times. We've done a lot of things together. He's taught me a lot of things. He's also a martial artist outside of the iconic Flash character he's always been. We always know him as that first and foremost. But once we get past, the Flash character and all his exuberance, we find out that he's a black belt and he's doing all these other projects that he's soaring around in different parts of the state and the country and doing this thing. He has taught me a couple techniques that I will always hold very, very, very dear to me as far as acting goes, and also in martial arts. I love him to death, and I'll
Awesome.
always respect him. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Brian Donahue.
We worked a couple times together. Interesting experience. He's someone that's, I would say, is finding his way, and win, lose, or draw, he will.
Awesome.
One of these.
UFC champion Chris Cyborg.
Seeing her in action outside of watching it on TV and you're standing right there, it's just something magical about that. As kids, we could never get close to these type of people. They were always on the other side of the screen. Always. So that when you're actually with them and you're on the same side of the screen they are, I don't care if you're the main person. I don't care if you're just the guy sitting on the side of the table while everything else is happening. It doesn't matter. You're still on that side of the screen. And for that, you should applaud yourself.
I can dig it. Steve Carino.
Oh, Steven. Awesome artist. Planet Mirrorball. He does this thing. We all know it very, very well. He was one of the other guys that, I learned a couple things from. He's with the editing and the coloring and everything. I seen how he can take a picture and take it from one look and completely change the aperture to be something that'll create something to the point of oil paintings. I've seen some of the freeze frames. I've seen how he changed certain things here and made it look this way there. I've seen the talent that Carino has, and Carino's going to be someone really big during his journey as well.
Absolutely.
I see it within him, and I wish nothing but the best for him. And I hope to definitely work with Carino again. Very, very,
Awesome.
very cool guy. He's also a fellow Aquarian, so that's my man. So I love him. Shout out to
Awesome.
Steve Carino.
Absolutely, absolutely. Another friend of ours, Newt Wallen.
Newt is like the Philly Toxic Avenger guy. You know what I mean? Like he comes from that Toxic Avenger, Attack of the Killer Clowns, just that fun era where it doesn't necessarily have to make sense because this is what we're in it for.
Absolutely.
Even I also call him like, the new, in his own way, like the new Weird Al Yankovic, like his movie that he was working on, The Midnight Show, that's like the new UHF to a degree. That's
Yes,
why
the South will rise again. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
just the fact that it was movie clips, just like that type of just that type of film work where it's just clips and clips and clips of beautiful nonsense that you could just sit there and eat your popcorn to and know that it's junk food. But this is why you're here.
Absolutely. All right, next, John Gillard Sr.
Oh man, Battle. Battle was another film that was very close to my heart. It was a film that I met John. Where did I meet John? Matter of fact, I met John on your set on The Sickness as well.
Oh yeah,
he was actually one of the extras there, and just like everything else, we started talking, and we became friends and started talking a lot, and then everything kind of just one thing flowed into another, and he said, "Look, I have this project that I'm doing that's involving, learning about he's like, I'm gonna be a boxer and I'm gonna lose this weight for this role." And for me, it reminded me almost of almost kind of like Tom Cruise Castaway-ish because of the weight difference and everything. Like, the fact that you're willing to actually go through this physical transformation, like for real, in the movie as it's playing, because of that element right there. That's what drew me to the movie. Yeah, that's what really drew that to me, because I understood what that was, because when I was heavier, I had to work all that off myself. And to see him do it and to do it for the movie, I would say to myself, yo, it's an honor for me to be a part of this, man. Because I like to see the fact that what you were at this part of the film, we actually had to wait until you got that off to actually finish it.
Yeah.
And on an independent level, for me personally, I thought that was epic.
That's what's up.
Because he had the guts.
Absolutely.
He had the guts and the gumption to put it together, no matter what it turned out to be later or what he transforms into after that. You actually had the will to put yourself through that type of training and torture just for the love of the art, just because you wanted to do it.
Absolutely.
It takes a certain type of person to do that.
Absolutely.
Shout out to John.
All right. So you got through. All right, moving on. So you won Best Actor and Best Actor award for an amazing performance in a film called Coming Home, directed by Derek Barry. There we go. There's a shot of it there on the screen at the Queen City Film Festival. Tell us about this role, because this was a bit deeper than the average role there. That you had to find a lot of emotion in this role here. So tell us a bit about this role here in this film.
Well, the whole thing about Coming Home, that was, as an actor, a coming age film for me spiritually in a different level, because in this film I was able to showcase my deeper introspective side that in a lot of other of my films, a lot of people don't really get to take a part in, because a lot of films that I was doing previously were very action related,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a love for action, but people have different sides of them, and if they're able to portray those different sides and get the opportunity, 9 times out of 10 you may even surprise yourself. During that time, I was taking care of my Aunt Ruth, and I was still in the middle of all that transition of doing that. So when I met Derek, he kind of asked me to do that role strictly because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because he said, well, a lot of things in this film, there's not going to be too much dialect. You're going to have to be able to portray the emotion and give off what you need to give off without saying anything. So I said, what do you want me to give you? Do you want me to give you what everyone else sees? Or do you want me to give you what it's like when everyone else goes home and it's just me and my aunt by herself? Which one do you want? Because one of them isn't that pretty. And he said, well, I need the latter. I said, okay. For me to do this, I'm going to have to tap into that. And it wasn't difficult at all because I was actually living it. Now, that made it easy, but it also made it very difficult as well because I was actually living it. I was still taking care of my aunt during that time before, we filmed, and then she passed away, and, we got it done. So, just tapping into that emotion and really being in it, but being brave enough to kind of show people what that actually is. Like anyone here who's taking care of an older person who they actually do care about and hold dear, understand that when you're a caretaker for someone, their life is in a balance, and every day is a chessboard, and you have to steel thyself to be able to go through the emotional roller coasters, because any day could be the last day.
It's true.
And you have to be ready for that in some capacity. And it's not for everybody. Being a caretaker is not for everybody. You have to be a certain type of person with a certain type of patience, a certain type of love, a certain type of resilience to be able to make it through that and still be intact. So it was emotionally it was an emotional roller coaster, and it was very draining, but I forced myself to go through this because I chose this and I wanted to become better, and I wanted to show people a piece, just a snippet of what it actually is. And if I can give you that piece to be authentic,
Yeah.
and show you the pain in a naked way, then I've done my job.
Absolutely. You definitely did. Definitely check out Coming Home. Not certain if it's on social media yet, but I know it did the film festival circuit, but definitely a powerful performance. So speaking of your Aunt Ruth and Uncle James, you mentioned them earlier. The last few years you've gone through the ringer as far as tragedy in your life. And when we talked about this interview, this is something that we wanted to discuss. You and I obviously have discussed it in detail and everything, but yeah, like you mentioned, you lost your Aunt Ruth after a long struggle with her. There she is, right there. It's a beautiful woman that I was privileged to know for many years, and yeah. So just tell us about. I mean, they raised you, her and Uncle James, and So tell us, I mean, you told us a little bit about the journey with helping her as a healthcare, but also move forward a bit to the tragedy that befell you a couple years ago with your fiance, who was another beautiful soul. So if you were, the floor is yours, my friend.
Well, after a good 10 years of taking care of my aunt, and the shoe finally dropped, and during that time, that was my worst fear, because my aunt was always there to be there for me. She was always there to protect me. She was always there to, make me feel good about myself when this world was too heavy for me. And me taking care of her all those years was just a way for me to repay her for everything that she's ever done for me. And no matter how hard it got, I didn't care, because she never gave up on me. So I said I would never give up on her. And when I lost her, the only one that was really there for me to help me at least not even deal with the pain, just live with it to a degree, was my fiance, Valerie. And unfortunately, a year after my aunt died, unfortunately, she died of a heart attack. And I was there with her when these things happened, so I was there for it. And then I lost her. That's when my worst nightmare that I never knew even existed began. I was alone after that. Everyone left, and I had to kind of just figure that out on my own.
Yeah, take your time.
Not a day that goes by that I don't think about her. During that time, I pretty much shut everything down because, I just got off social media and everything else because I literally had nothing else to say. Everything that I was involved in, everything that I built was for my aunt, and building for my fiance and my family so that we could have something later on in life. And to lose that, I lost everything. And I I really didn't know how to deal with that. I had no idea how to deal with that. It was just, I was in catatonic shock for months. I was in inpatient situations, had gone through just different therapies. Like, for the first time in my existence, I truly understood what it was like for people that actually took themselves away from this world, because sometimes the weight is really too heavy. I'm not saying it's the right thing, but for those who do or have suffered these type of things, I understand, because at that time, and sometimes even now, there's not a day that goes by that I wish my aunt could tell me that things would be all right one more time. If Valerie could tell me things will be okay one more time, just one more time.
So what was it that you think? I know astrology has become a big part of your life, but what would you attest to being a reason why you kind of have slowly kind of come out of the darkness that you were in for a long time?
Well, I was going through different studies. I'm a big follower of history and different meanings and underground meanings and secret meanings of things. And when I was alone like that, I had literally nothing but time. Nothing but time. And I really didn't know where to go with a lot of things. So I was just going through videos and looking at different things, and certain astrology videos popped up and they made a lot of sense. And I was like, oh man, but I started getting deeper and deeper into it, and it gave me a deeper understanding of how our lives kind of shape in certain ways that push us in certain directions. Certain things happen in life that push you in this direction, then other things will happen that push you in that direction. And you really don't understand the full fruition until you kind of look back and see all the different things that happen that lead you to be the man that you are today or the woman that you are today. Everyone and everything is as it should be for you to become what you will later. The whole idea of it is to endure. For all those listening, the idea is to simply endure. Can you all do that? Can you endure? If you can, there are other things. You will acquire certain knowledge that you can only acquire if thou hast gone through these things. You will be the one to be able to tell someone it's okay. I've been through these things before. There is a better time. You will be able to say these things in confidence and be a rock that you probably never had yourself. And through the study of these things, I've understood what that pretty much means and what life paths are for everyone, and we all have them. It's just figuring out what that is. Find out who you are. Find out why you are. Once you find these things out, no one can tell you anything. Who are you?
That's true.
Once you know, you'll know what types of things you can do. For those who are actors out there, find out who you are so that you can know what roles you really can do. Without that, you'll be all over the place, trying to do everything. Not every actor is in everything. If you really pay attention. So find out who you are. And then you can move forward in your way, not this person's way, not that person's way, your way.
Absolutely.
Yours
Absolutely.
alone.
Absolutely. Just going to look at some of these comments. Crystal said, this is healing in raw form. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Crystal. Chops 856. You got this dollar bill. They're proud of you. I agree. Real uncle. James and Val are proud of you, my friend. You're a good man, says Sean Smithson. Crystal's
Oh,
giving
man.
some 100%. Crystal says, preach it. Sean Smithson, great episode again. Brandon Lamar, it was great to get to know you a little bit. Wish you a lot more success.
Yo, shout out to Brandy, shout out to all those people, shout out to Crystal, shout out to Chops. Like, the people that do know me, they know my story behind the camera. Not too many people know my story behind the camera. You know my story behind the camera. Like, this is why this moment is even existing right now, my friend, because you know me behind the camera. Because I had to find my voice to be in the camera again.
Yeah, that's why I thought it would be therapeutic for you to do this. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Chops 856 said that what I just said, absolutely. So yeah, just to get a little more upbeat as we come to the end of the show. I always ask our guests every week this is more of an acting side of a question. If you could be any character in any type of a film, any budget range, what would it be, Lamar? That's a tall question for you, I know.
I would be a teacher. If any character that I would be, any character that has something important to say, anything that has a message to give to someone else to become something more than they are. If I can be that person to spark that in someone else, I know I've done my job on stage, on film, and for the person who was watching. That's what's important.
Absolutely. Great answer. All right. So what's currently going on with you? Like, is there any new projects upcoming for you? Like whether stage, film, TV, behind the scenes? Let our audience know about that, please. Do you have any music, anything like creative music, film, anything that you're working on, or anything behind the scenes you're doing? As far as I know, you said you started like a business that.
Well, in my hiatus, I've just been, while I was trying to find myself for who I was and for who I am to become, I had just different ideas. I have different stories, different scripts that I'm possibly writing. Some things I'm gonna be throwing your way pretty soon. There's also possibly some music at one point in time. As far as acting goes, outside the scripts, I'm still going to be doing projects. I'm coming into it with a different focus. I'm coming into it like, I'm just not doing roles just for the sake of doing roles. Like I've done that, just like, you paid your dues and all that stuff. We've run the race. Now I'm more focused on doing roles of something with meaning, depth. It has to be something with real passion behind it because I'm a passion-driven individual. So anything else, I would not even be able to go into that form. Therefore, the director wouldn't get what they actually need. So if I'm going to do film in any capacity, if it's in that lane where there is depth to it, where there is meaning to it, sure. I'm working on being open to these things. Right now, I'm away in like a monastery of sorts in an undisclosed location, dealing with a lot of spiritual matters. But I will be coming back around in this year, 2022. I'll be working on some things with you, low key, and I'm just handpicking a lot of things now. I'm slowly working myself back into it, and I hope that the public is I hope the public missed me at least a little bit. You know, I've been gone for a while, and I hope I can give the public exactly what's here in everything that I do. So,
Awesome.
like I
Awesome.
said, I'm peeking out the shadows a little bit and just saying, hey,
Yeah.
I'm here.
I'm glad, man. I'm glad we've missed you, my friend. Definitely look forward to working with you soon and on a project we're finishing up. And yeah, there's other things in the horizon too that I'll share with you that have come up that Tim and I actually are working on that I have that has your name on it too. So some profound stuff. So yeah, but I'm glad, man. I think it was, like I said, I think it was good for you to get back into the light a little bit and again and do it with purpose, because I think you said you've come a long way and I think you have something to say on film or on stage or on television, especially with the struggles that you've gone through, because you can manifest that into these roles that are worthy of time to for you to take on. And just like you did in Coming Home, you could actually utilize the struggles and the perseverance that you've had to go through with all of the darkness and bring it to light on film to showcase to people. So I'm glad that you're here tonight, my friend. So we have Crystal says this beautiful, raw, unfiltered healing and seeing to men come together and do this is beautiful. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you. She also said, for we are all the teacher and the student. Yes. And
Very
Chops,
wise.
yes, Chops 856. We are waiting, Lamar. We can't wait to see you back in action. I can attest to that. Yes. All right. So yes. So yeah, we're winding down now. Mr. Melican, my friend, do you have any questions for Mr. Bumbrey? Your mic, my friend.
Don't you miss Joe? Don't you miss Joe? I think I'm fired. But no, listen, Lamar, it was just awesome to hear your story for real. And Brandon's spoken highly of you many a time to me personally. So to actually hear you speak the truth and speak your story, the story was awesome. And yeah, looking forward to working with you in the future, obviously. And unfortunately, look, I think because we weren't actually on Facebook tonight, we lacked questions in the chat room. There was a lot of great comments, though, and a lot of great support for you as well, Lamar. So thanks, everybody in the chat who participated. And yeah, pleasure to see you, man.
Absolutely.
Oh,
So Lamar,
so much.
awesome. So Lamar, can you tell our audience where they can find you on social media and keep up with your doings and whatever comes up for you in film, television, music, etc.?
I haven't really been on social media that much. I was, right at that moment of time finding self. But every now and then, people can still inbox me every now and then on Facebook. Every now and then I will check it. Other people can catch me for, any type of business. They can email me at aqjersey@yahoo.com. And just little by little, I'll be around. Little by little. If anyone wants to contact me, just send me a message, or if they happen to see you, just ask if you see me and just get back to me or anything like that. I'm kind of in the wind nowadays. It's kind of hard to catch me, but just leave me a message, and when I come to the digital world, I'll definitely answer you back. I just had to get thine self together first before I know what to say to someone else.
Understood. Well, Lamar, like the show's Outlaws United. Obviously, it's industry based, but the word outlaw means a lot of different things to me. And in your life, the hard life you've lived, the hack life you've lived, you're an outlaw. You're the epitome of what this show's about. People who are driven and who have gone through struggles and gone through the hustle of not just the business but life. So I love you, brother. Thank you for coming out of the light tonight for us on the network and sharing your story, and continue to share your story, whether it's on other people's shows or via creative forms in music or film, because People need to hear this. People need to hear that the bad things happen to people, struggles happen to people, but we persevere and we come back, and sometimes we come back stronger. So I'm proud of the work that you've done to come back, and that you're even here tonight, because again, it was a long journey to get to this point. So thank you, brother. Appreciate you coming on tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. Like I said, you're literally the only person that could pull this out of me, and I'm definitely glad you did. And if anybody just needs someone that just wants to listen, hit me up.
Absolutely. He's a good ear. Absolutely. And then thank you for dropping the wisdom that you did tonight. Normally I ask for words of wisdom at the end, but you gave so much during that I don't think it could be duplicated. Kimberly Moody in our chat says, great job, Lamar. Absolutely a great man inside and out. So,
Thank you so much, Kimberly. Thank you so much.
Chops 856. It's great to see you, my friend.
It's awesome to see you too, Chops. We'll be talking very soon.
Awesome.
I just want to know I love you all. I just want y'all to know that. I really do.
Love you too, brother. All right, I owe you, Lamar Bumbrey. Thank you. Have a good weekend, my friend. I love you, and we'll talk soon.
Love you too, my friend.
Lamar Bumbrey, everybody. All right, Mr. Melican.